Please bow your heads, please. Father God, we open up this council meeting tonight with you in mind. Let every item on the agenda, the city electric supplier for the future, be to your approval. Father, we thank you for the fair agreement made with Midwest Contractors tonight to continue to work with the youth in our city, teaching them life skills. We thank you for the discussion regarding the fuel and hidden from you. You know everything. And so we thank you for the wisdom and guidance for all the council members tonight. Yes. We ask you, Father, that everything be done tonight decently and in order.
Yes, Lord.
That by your Holy Spirit, things will happen in this city that's already been predestined by you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Evelyn. Now we'll officially call this meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Mayor Miller.
Here.
Alderperson Clem will be marked absent again. Monroe.
Here.
Simmons is absent. Parker.
Here.
Stacy.
Here.
Shadle.
Here.
Sanders. Here. And Sellers.
Here.
And then if I could please get a motion for remote attendance for Alderman Clem.
So move.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Sellers, seconded by Alderman Shadle. All those in favor? No,
Aye.
sorry.
Aye.
If you could please call the roll on that.
Monroe.
Aye.
Parker.
Aye.
Stacy.
Aye.
Shadle.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
And Sellers.
Aye.
At 6:08, Alderperson Clem will be marked present.
Are we sure that he's there?
Tom, can you hear us, sir?
Yes.
Thank you.
Please speak into the mic, so.
Okay, thank you. So if you could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Alderman Parker. Alderman Parker.
From the agenda, item number 10.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. Alderman Stacy, if you want to make a motion, like an intervening motion, then to remove item 10, get a second on that. If that passes, then item 10 will be removed. Or if you want to have it removed, like the specific date or something like that to bring back to another, include that in your motion. But I think that's how we could handle it, since a motion and a second's been made already to approve the agenda as presented.
Okay, so when should I have done it?
You can do it right now.
No, like right now. Yeah.
You just put a
Okay,
date.
I make a motion that we remove item number 10.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Wait.
so
Everything's
sorry.
got to be by roll call because we have an electronic participation.
Okay, roll call on that.
Sorry.
Parker.
Aye.
Stacy.
Aye.
Shadle.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Sellers.
Aye.
Clem.
Aye.
Monroe.
Aye.
So that motion passes unanimously, but that's only on the
Correct.
amendment.
So
Okay.
the amendment to strike item number 10 passes. So now before you then is the approval of the agenda as amended without item number 10. So if,
Roll call on
Go
that.
ahead.
No, number 10 is out, the rest of it.
Parker.
Aye.
Stacy.
Aye.
Shadle.
Aye.
Sanders.
Aye.
Sellers.
Aye.
And Clem. Did I hear Clem?
Aye.
And Monroe.
Aye.
And that motion passes 7-0.
Number 5, approval of the minutes from the Committee of the Whole meeting held on August 12th, 2024.
So move.
Second. Let's get it moving. Public comment.
No comments, we call
Could you
roll.
remind me? I was taking notes. Sorry.
Okay. Shadlin,
Shadle.
Shadle Sellers, thank you. Parker,
aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
pardon me, Shadle,
Aye.
Sanders,
Aye.
Sellers,
Aye.
Clem,
Aye.
and Monroe.
Aye.
The minutes are approved, 7-0.
Number 6,
There are none.
no public comments? Okay. Number 7, recognition of law enforcement for 3 recent incidents presented by Manager Blair.
It's going to be packed house here, so, yeah. Yeah, well, we're going to just.
Okay. All right. We can't see nothing.
Ladies and gentlemen, over the last several months, the Freeport Police Department have faced several significant incidents that have shaken our community. Their unwavering support and dedication to addressing the ongoing challenges of gun violence, drug abuse, and other serious threats have been a beacon of hope during these challenging times. First, we wish Chief Schenberger our best as he cannot join us tonight, but I want to extend my deepest thanks to the Freeport Police Department for their professionalism, expertise in managing the standoff involving the barricaded individual who posed a grave danger to others. While the residents of the Hosmer Apartments and the surrounding area were evacuated, our officers remained steadfast in their mission to peacefully resolve the situation. And that's exactly what they did. No one was harmed, and most importantly, no lives were needlessly lost. During this evacuation, the Illinois State Police, the Red Cross, the Salvation Army, and even the Pretzel City Transit and other unnamed organizations and residents played crucial roles. Their contributions cannot go unnoticed. Dozens of displaced residents found refuge and relief thanks to the compassion and resources of these organizations. The expertise of the state police was instrumental in de-escalating the situation and convincing the individual to lay down his weapon. In the same week, we witnessed another senseless act of violence when someone, in an utterly futile attempt to gain access to suspected illicit substances, pointed a firearm at our city street crews while they were simply paving Oak Street, their job. Thank you to our exceptional police department for the situation was swiftly addressed, resulting in the apprehension and arrest of a suspected criminal. Sadly, despite all precautions, we know all too well the tragic toll gun violence has taken on Freeport. Last year, Tevin Walker lost his life at the hands of Chris Calvin. The Freeport police conducted an exceptional investigation, and with the help of the Chicago area law enforcement, apprehended Calvin nearly 10 months after the murder. Today, Calvin is behind bars, and we know that we owe that to the tireless efforts of our investigators and our officers. We extend our deepest gratitude to these dedicated professionals who serve our community,
Thank you.
putting their lives on the line to protect us all. To our fellow community members who are understandably shaken by recent events, please note that we hear you, we see you, and we stand with you. We don't wish to dismiss the anger and grief caused by gun violence, but we encourage everyone to remain vigilant. If you see or hear something, speak up. Your voice matters, and together we can foster a safer Freeport. So thank you to all the law enforcement personnel who continue to serve with bravery and compassion. Let us stand behind them as we work together to restore Freeport as a safe community for everyone.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to turn it over to Lieutenant Dykema if he has any thoughts or any additional comments.
No, I can just say, watching these men and women come together in an incident like the Hosmer. The way they pull together, work together, and come to the best resolution possible is amazing, and they do tremendous work, so thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Lord Jesus.
If any of the aldermen would like to say anything, feel free.
Just want to say thank you.
You make me very proud of what you do, and you do it every day, and I can relate to it, and thank you, and keep up the good work.
I believe that concludes. Thank you very much.
Number 8, presentation regarding emerging statewide industrial trends impacting Nordic Energy for the retail supply of electric for residents and small business customers. Presented by Mike, Rock River Energy.
Thank you for putting me on the agenda, and I'm back again, just a little bit quicker than I thought from last time. What we have is, a few months ago, the council voted contract and awarded contract to Nordic Energy for 3 years, I believe, at a certain electrical rate. Unfortunately, Nordic cannot adhere to that rate because of things beyond their control. And I want to be brief, but I just want to let everyone know what's happening more or less on a national level. FERC, the people that, federal government that controls all the power in the country, had PJM, our grid people, redo their auction process. And through this auction process, it was delayed and delayed. Normally, we know what capacity charges are going to be for 3 years in advance. Everything got pushed back from the delays. What this meant was suppliers were giving us rates on prices, and this affects ComEd as well, so we would know what the prices would be. Unfortunately, in July 30th, PJM came back with a reverse auction, and the capacity rates went from like $28 a megawatt per day up to $267 per megawatt per day. So what does this mean? About 1 or 1.5 cents increase on electrical rates happening for just 2025 through 2026. So we've got, so that's kind of what's happened. So what we have is 3 options that we're going to bring back, and we've through Rob and the mayor, we've had the attorney look at the agreement and see if it was legal for Nordic to be able to do this. This is happening with all suppliers. It's happening in ComEd area. It's happening in Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland. Those are all people that's under the same grid and utilities. So our 3 options are, 1, accept the new rate that Nordic has given us for the 3-year term. Our second option is have them go until May of any May bill period next year. And third option is cancel the contract, and they will, by law, have to send everyone back to ComEd. One of the things important things that's happening in December is PJM, the grid people, will again do an auction for year 226, 227. That's getting it more out to the 3-year average. Suppliers will know what their costs and that are going to be. One thing I wanted to look up. Right now in the city, we have 6,386 people in the program that did not opt out, and we have 10 that took the green program, which is their energy is coming from a renewable source. So right now, that's what we're working on. I just wanted to address, get this on record that we're looking at it. We'll be talking to Nordic through the city, because the contract is a legal document between the city and the supplier. So, questions?
Greg?
If I remember right, the price point was 8.67 on the contract?
Yes, the current rate was, I have right here for Freeport, 8.315.
8315.
Yes.
And what is the new proposed?
The full-term price would be 9.628 cents.
Thank you.
If we went with ending May of 2025 price, 8.260. Slightly less than our current price. And if we cannot, if the city cannot make negotiations with Nordic has a right to terminate the contract. So that will be on them. But if that happens, or if we do the May 2025 price, if that's negotiated, what we will be able to do is go back and go out for competitive bidding again and do this after December, after this auction process takes place a second time for that other additional year. Then we've got more of a secure rate that we can count on. And like I said, this is going to affect ComEd as us. Everyone pays capacity charges. And just for a brief explanation what capacity charge is, it's one of the 4 items in our total all-in price that's collected and given out to generators so that they will continue to build power supply so we won't have brownouts and blackouts. What's happening across our country is there's a tremendous new demand for power on the grid systems. If, for example, one EV car takes the place of 2 households. So if you see more and more and more EV cars on the road and other electronic vehicles, they're taking power from the grid also. These huge data centers that are being built take a tremendous amount of power, and AI is included on that. That power demand is growing faster than what we are adding new power onto the grid now. That's why FERC and on down needed to raise up the incentives for people to build new generation. And to more in terms here, if you had subdivisions and you were growing and so on and so forth, the true cost isn't the water lines and the sewer lines that are put in that subdivision. The true cost to the city are additional wells and expanding the water treatment plant to handle that extra capacity. And that's what's happening to our grid. So what I want to do is help and assist the city through this contract negotiations. I don't have a voice in it, but I want to give them all the information that they need to have a good decision. And if there's a change, it will be brought back to the council. You agree, Aaron? Okay. Any other questions?
Joy?
So are you saying if we hold out till May for the you said 260?
Yes.
And then that way it give you guys time to talk with the whoever?
We will have time after December or in January, February to go out, solicit new bids from suppliers, bring them back to the council, have you choose the supplier in term, or choose to go back to ComEd.
Okay.
And then, if we do, then we put it out to, again, to the ratepayers to see if they want to rate or accept it or opt out of the program.
Okay. So, so the contract right now is 8.315. So if we take the 8.2, is that changing anything, or
It,
what would that do to the contract?
it lowers the rate just slightly until May, but it's just an 8-month contract instead of a 3-year contract.
Oh, okay, so that's what you want us to,
Yeah,
okay.
that's,
thank
that's the major change, yes.
Okay.
Aaron?
I got it.
So just to clarify for the council, right now, with Nordic basically saying because of these federal regulation changes that are beyond their control, they've come to us and they've sent the necessary notice saying, hey, per our current contract, when there are regulations that are out of our control, it brings us to the negotiating table. So we have a 30-day window to try to negotiate some resolution to this issue. I think what Mike has indicated then, what Mike has brought up are options. We don't know what Nordic is going to agree to. These are just 3 ideas that we have as to what could happen. We could either, 1, accept their rate increase to the 9% plus. We could try to do a shorten our 3-year contract right now, see if they'll agree to say, hey, let's just do a contract till next May, and then go back out to bid, right? We don't know if they're going to agree to that or not, okay? Or if during these negotiations we can't come to an agreement on anything, then they have the right to terminate the contract. Our position would be, hey, well, if we can't come to an agreement on a new contract, you have to live by the current contract. That would then put the ball in their court as to, well, we can't live with the current contract, we're going to terminate it. So, Mike, I think that's what you're saying. We don't know what's going to happen yet because we're in the process of this 30-day negotiations with them.
Correct. And on this, City of Freeport's not alone. We have a township, we have a county, we have the City of Freeport, and the village of Riverwoods in Lake County, which all have, what's in common is we all have Nordic contracts. So,
Cecilia?
So after the 30 days, it will go to the 9.628.
the 30 days is just the notice that we were served per the contract terms that they want to renegotiate the contract.
We're already at the 9.6 now, currently.
Right, we're already flowing power right now on the 8.315 cents. We started in August, our September bills.
So when do the 9.628 go in effect?
It won't start unless, go ahead, Aaron, if you want to answer.
Okay.
So potentially never, right?
Okay.
That's what they're proposing to go to because of these uncontrollable forces, power from the Fed saying that, hey, we're changing the game on you, Nordic. They have to raise their rates. They propose to raise them to the 9 point whatever, right? They have to now, they came to us and said, hey, we're proposing to raise the rates. We know our contract right now says 8.3 there. So they're asking if we will agree to the increase. Our position now is, okay, we can either accept that or we can say potentially, well, no, we don't agree to that. Will you do a short-term contract? Will you, just finish the rest of, up to May under the current contract and then let us go renegotiate, go back out to bid, see if they agree to do that. Or if we can't come to an agreement,
We
then
can opt out.
no, they have the right to terminate the contract. But we would hold our position and say, no, we don't agree to a rate increase. And then that would put the ball in their court to say, well, we can't do it at this current rate, so we'll terminate the contract.
And
If,
Go ahead, Larry.
if Nordic terminated the contract, the next step would be ComEd would be sending letters out to all our
Constituents.
residents and
Yeah.
small businesses that are in the program, saying you are, at such and such date, you're going to be returned to ComEd.
right.
So we have the option then of, if we get to that point, we'll have some talking points. If we get to the point where we will take the I call it 8-month contract, it would be about 6-month contract by the time we get around to it. If we do that, then either of those options, we'll have time to go out and rebid this.
All right.
And we'll have the suppliers, I'm thinking the future rates will come down some because they don't have all that risk in there now. They know what this is going to be, which they didn't know when we did this one.
Is it the city injecting the policy of the contract that we already currently have to systematically stay in play until it elapses, the current contract, until it elapses, and then we go back to the table, drawing board, or make a decision, are we going out for a bid, or accept the offer that, is that what we're looking at?
Aaron?
So we just received the letter to the letter saying, hey, per contract, we have to negotiate for 30, we have a 30-day window, negotiate. Staff is about to start that process to see what's agreeable, what's not agreeable to Nordic, what ideas do they have. Ultimately, whatever the decision ends up being, it's going to come back to council to say, yes, we agree with this, or no, we don't agree with that. We're not there yet. We still have to have the initial conversation with Nordic just to say, hey, we got your letter. We're here to negotiate. What are you guys thinking? Here's what we're thinking. Let's see how far apart we are, see if we can't come to any common ground or anything like that. But that's going to happen in this 30-day window. Along the way, we're obviously going to be bringing it back to you guys to say, hey, they've offered this. What do you guys think? We think it's good. We think it's bad. Well, here's what we offered. They said they could possibly do this. They can't do that. So we'll keep you guys updated on what the options are. But ultimately, you guys will make the decision as to what the end-all be-all is, which might be we can't reach an agreement. So if we can't reach an agreement, then I think our position would be we stay firm on our current contract. Nordic, play your hand. At that point, if you're going to cancel, you can cancel.
What is ComEd's rate, do you know?
ComEd, as I mentioned at our meeting, it's under our current contracted rate right now.
It is.
Right. In May, it was at 9 cents. But it dropped down for the summer. Now, we don't know what it's going to be because it's more of a variable rate. They pass their cost on. So if the energy supply starts coming up, ComEd changes their pricing. They buy like in 30-year increments, or 30%. They buy like for this year, a third out for the 2000 next year and the next year after that. But they've got all these adjustments. Capacity changes, they automatically roll that into the rate because it changes every June and it changes again every October.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Any other questions? Rob?
I just want to say, Mike, thank you very much for coming and representing Rock River Energy today. It's a complicated subject, and it just shows your passion for doing the right thing, and I do greatly appreciate you being here today.
thank you. At the end of the day, we want what's best for the city of Freeport. If we all go back to ComEd, then, I'm perfectly fine with that. We want to get the best solution and cause the least turmoil. And I'd like to also, Rob and the staff and the council have been good to work with. We got more calls, not only this community, but all our communities that we've been doing business with this year than ever. People are more in tune to what's going on, and a lot of really good calls too for the city of Freeport. And people, one thing, and I had mentioned every call that I mentioned the ComEd rate right now is lower. You can opt out and then join back in later. We're not so sure about joining back in anymore with the way things are changing around. That was always part of our agreement, that people could opt back in after a time. Most people said, you know what, I want to stay with the city program. And Dovey took a lot of calls, and her ladies and other staff, that was a positive thing, but I was just overwhelmed how many calls we got with all our communities this year. So, Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? I just didn't want to,
Anybody else? Okay, that's it. Thank you.
all right.
Thank you.
Oh, I guess just to sum it up, we'll start our negotiations, and I'll be talking with city manager and the attorney and say, okay, let's do our next step, but we'll get together on that. This is just to kind of let the council know what was going on.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Next subject, number 9.
Chair, may I just interject? I appreciate the compliment, but I have to give a shout out to Brian Bridge, our communications director. He did a lot of the promotion and fielded a lot of the calls, and I don't want to take anything away from him. Thanks.
All right, you bet. I don't know where he went, but. Okay. Number 9, Library Summer Reading Program Report 2024.
Good evening. I'm Amanda Myers, and I'm the Youth Services Manager at the Freeport Public Library. I'm here tonight to tell you about the summer reading program that we had this past summer. It ran from June 3rd to August 10th, so we had 10 weeks of really big adventures. As you can see, our theme this year was Adventure Begins at Our Library, and we had many, many adventures. So to start with, we'll talk about the actual reading portion of the summer reading program. The number of children and teens that register for the program each year continues to grow. This year we had 498 children, which is just birth through 6th grade, sign up for summer reading. Of those who signed up, 274 successfully completed the program. So successfully completing it means they read for at least 20 hours or 60 books.
Oh, wow.
This year's finishing percentage was 55.02%, which honestly is down just a little bit from last year. Last year was 56%. However, when you look at the number of joiners we had, that was up almost 20% from last year. So the number of kids that we still have finishing and being active participants is growing each year. And just for like a ballpark reference, most libraries would be happy if they got like 20-25% finishers. So sitting at a little over 50 is a really good place to be. And also, the other big part of the summer program is programming. And this slide shows our total program attendance. This year we had 6,048 children, teens, and adults come to our summer programs, which is actually a 25% increase from last year. And I swear, I stand up here every year and I'm like, I don't know how much better we can do. And I really wasn't expecting 6,000, but we had like, what was it, 3,000 in June? So it was really high. It's always really high at the beginning and then it tapers a little as people go on vacation. But still, 6,000, I am super proud of that. And that is, like I said, a 25% increase from last year. And this year, I don't always realize it when I'm doing it because it's just like, you keep doing these things, but we actually offered 141 programs from June 3rd to August 10th. Wow. And I mean, our youth services department is a full-time staff of 2. So Ashley, of course, is always happy to help out wherever she can and join us for programs. And we get a lot of support, too, from the rest of the library staff. So as you can see, our attendance has been steadily increasing ever since after the pandemic. And then this slide just kind of looks at some of our regular programs that we have every year. As you can see this year, the kickoff party was bigger, the end of summer party was bigger, tie-dye was bigger. Make It Monday is where we saw our most significant increase this year, which we'll talk about later, but the average number of kids for that program jumped from 79 last year to 93 this year, which I wasn't really fully expecting it because you get a lot of people who register, but then they don't come. And so like the first few weeks, I was like, oh my gosh, we're really getting like 110 kids at these programs. Last year we had 1 week where we were over 100, and this year we had 3 weeks. And even many of the weeks where we didn't have 100 kids, we had like high 90s, like 97, 98. So that was good to see. And our Storytime at Debate Square number is just a little lower than last year. I think it had a lot to do with the weather, honestly. I think there were probably 3 weeks that we were inside. And it's just, I mean, Storytime is always fun, but it's not as much fun when it's not in the park. So now we are going to talk about some of our super fun programs. This was our kickoff party. We had the kickoff party indoors this year due to like off and on rain throughout the morning, and it was one of those days when you never really know what it's going to be like from 1 to 3. So inside was the safest bet, but it didn't dampen anyone's enthusiasm. We had 500 children and adults and teens enjoy the festivities, and as you can see, they were everywhere in the library. There were games, crafts, and lots of other activities. So every year we do a collaborative art piece because there's a lot of really high walls in our youth services department. So since our theme was adventure this summer, we asked them, what will your summer adventure be? And we kind of themed it around, that's the house from the movie Up, if you're familiar. And in the movie, it has like balloons carrying it along. So we gave them all a balloon shape and let them write like whatever. So some of them was like going swimming and camping and going to the library. And I think my favorite one on here, it was one of the moms of the littles that wrote crawling and walking. And they just came up with some really great things that they were going to do this summer. And we always start that in May. We have a field trip. All the kindergartners from Jones Farrar come. So we always invite them to work on our collaborative art piece to kind of get it started. And then we also do it at the kickoff party. It's always one of our main activities. And then we do it with all our field trip groups that come like on their first visit. So this summer we ended up with 283 balloons, which I've never actually counted before how many art pieces we have, but I guess I'll have to start doing that going forward. But it took up a really good chunk of that wall space. And now that we took it down last week, it looks so blank like when you walk into our department. These are some pictures from story time at Debate Square. Everybody loves a good outside story time in the summer, myself included. And it's really fun. We get to do bubbles outside. We have dance parties. I bring the sensory table outside and we'll do sand or water. And I think this is one of my favorite pictures of them playing with parachute, because to me, it just, like, they're so joyful and happy, and everybody loves parachute play. Like, the littles, the biggers that do it in school, they're all about parachute. Tot Time at Crape Park is one of our collaborative programs that we do with the Park District. It started about 3 years ago, and this year we had about 5 or 6 littles at each of our sessions. Each time we have a certain theme. This one was from the Garden Week, and we read age-appropriate stories, sing songs. This time they went on a bug hunt over at the playground. We did bubbles and parachute, which they weren't so sure about, honestly, but they learned to love it. The next slides are some of our Make It Monday programs. This is the week we had a camping-themed week, so I was like, oh, how could we make lanterns? So we found how to make lanterns with just parchment paper and cardboard, and we just gave them a tea light so they actually glowed. And what I love about Make It Monday is they each get to do their own thing and make the project however they want. You can see the girl in the blue shirt made hers like shorter and colored it, and they'll color like super intricate designs. The boy on the end there who's very smiley, he actually made like 15 Pokemon balls all over his, so he was like super into it. I think he drew for about the whole hour. And another one we did was Squishmallow paintings, which Squishmallows are like a super popular stuffed animal that are all kind of animal shaped and kind of have that round look to them. So my librarian assistant, Erin, made templates of probably 20 different animals, and we just let them paint them. And as you can see, the creativity really flowed with this project. They did great, great things, and they really enjoyed them, and they all were just so unique. And another one of our Make It Mondays was marble mazes, which was also super fun. And I like it because it's a good STEM project, using those like engineering and math skills over the summer. And these guys, they cracked me up. They all had to tell me like the stories of their marble mazes. Like one of the kids, like an alligator was hiding in one of the corners and was gonna get his marble. And I'm just like, okay, that sounds fun. But it's really great just to see their creativity and all the different things they do when you just, I mean, I let them loose with like popsicle sticks and straws and bottle caps and just like random things, and they came up with these great creations. One of my favorite programs over the summer was family fort building. So on a Saturday or a Friday night, when we closed at 6 o'clock, we had an after hours family fort building event. So each family brought their own blankets and pillows, and they made tents and forts inside the children's department of the library. So after they built, they got a chance to read books and just kind of hang out in their forts. And then after that, for about the last 10, 15 minutes, I broke one of my own library rules and let them play hide and seek in the library, and it was like mostly dark in there too. It was just the emergency lights, which actually they complained about, but that's fine. They had a great time playing hide and seek. Like, they were all over, they had a blast. They had like little glow bracelets. So that was super fun for them. And since it was an Olympic year, of course we had to have our very own library Olympics. So we had different Olympic-y style events. They did like a javelin toss and a discus throw and a bag toss. They played soccer, and you can see in the bottom picture, we actually made some horses out of pool noodles, which, again, Erin came through. She is very great at crafting things. When I'm like, hey, Erin, look at this, she can actually like make it happen. So yes, they were very nice little horses, and they had fun like riding them all around the park and running around. And everyone that day went home with a gold medal as well. So everyone was a winner. And we also had Minute to Win It games, which is just where like you give them a challenge and see if they can complete it in a minute. So it's fun, it's fast moving, it's all those things. I think their favorite one is called Face the Cookie, where they put like an Oreo on their forehead and they have to move it down to their mouth without their hands in a minute, which I don't actually think anybody did successfully this time, although we have done it with school groups before, and they actually have been able to do it. So I think our most anticipated thing this summer was Stella the Sloth. About as soon as I posted it on the program calendar, the registrations were full, probably within a week. If you remember when there was just like so many people, we didn't want that to happen again. So, because, I mean, it's a sloth in Freeport, so it would have happened again, probably. So we had a registration, we limited it to 100 people. It was perfect, honestly. So the sloth came with her handler, who she actually, like, lives in her house and stuff. They're very connected. Stella is super cute. We all got to pet her, everybody who works there. And also all the kids got to pet her too at the end and have their pictures taken with her. They were so excited. I had one little girl, her favorite animal is a sloth, and she was ready for this from the day I was like, we're gonna have a sloth. And she was just like, what? This is amazing. And even that day, she was just like bouncing up and down. She was so excited. And the lady from Animal Quest gave like an excellent presentation. We learned a ton about sloths, and I think they're everybody's new favorite animal if it already wasn't their favorite animal, because they're just so cool. We also had an artist come this summer, Lee Hessling from Dubuque. He is a caricature artist, and he also teaches caricature drawing. So we had 10 tweens and teens sign up to take the class, and they loved it. You can see how happy they all are from their faces over there. That's them. So the way he set it up was they sat across from their partner, and that would be who they drew for like the entire 2-hour session. They did like a first rough draft like before he taught them anything, and then as the class progressed, they worked on like eyes and noses and like all this stuff. And then these are their finished drawings at the end. And they had a blast. We are gonna have him back again next summer for sure, and we'll probably actually do 2 sessions of the class because the demand for that one too was also very high. Because kids love art in this town. I just have to tell you, they love creating anything. This is summer art camp. That is Erin, my librarian assistant. She ran the summer art camp for a week this summer. It focused solely on collages. So each week they would do a different variety of collage. And they are standing there with their finished projects for the week. They did a 3D shadow box with whatever they would like to put in it. And all those guys, they also had a really great time. This is some pictures from the Boys and Girls Club field trips. So every week, 8 groups from Boys and Girls Club would come for field trips. So these pictures, they might look a little scattered, but we were having a bad art contest that week. So the goal was to make the worst art, because not everybody is good at art. So we might as well make it fun, we might as well try to do something bad, and they really got into it, and they had a ton of fun making their bad art. And then we voted on a winner, and they got prizes for being the worst, so they all had a good time. And they're really fun. We really enjoy working with them. They're really good groups, and we like to get to know, it's fun to get to know them over the course of the summer, right? Because it's the same kids every week for they probably came about 8 weeks. So they're really fun. And then we also had lots of teen programs this summer. Teen programming really took off. They made candy sushi, vacation tile coasters, spray bottle paintings, and they decorated cupcakes at one of their programs. And Erin is in charge of doing all the teen programming, and she is just great at it. Like, she does a really good job with the teens. And we actually had 217 teens at teen programs this summer, including the field trips from Boys and Girls Club. And then you can't end a summer like that without a party. And thanks to Brian, he took all these great pictures from the finishing party. We had the usual bounce houses. This year we added face painting. They got a free coupon for ice cream, like our friend there was enjoying. That is also one of my favorite pictures from summer, honestly. That is just great. And oh yeah, we added one more thing this summer, which was a dunk tank. So they loved the dunk tank. It was a very cold day, and the water was freezing, and it was not sunny. So I feel like the three of us, I was in it, Erin was in it, and Ashley was in it. I feel like we did not enjoy the dunk tank as much as we might have if it was 90. But hey, the kids had a blast. The guy in the Levi's shirt there, he was trying to go 4 for 4, as in all 4 balls that he got to throw. He was trying to dunk me all 4 times in a row. So, and he would go through the line over and over and over again. I was like, oh no. And that line up there, that is actually the line for them to throw at the dunk tank.
Oh, wow.
So as you can see, that was like I think it was their favorite thing at the party. You think?
Yes.
Yeah. So I guess that probably means we have to do it again next year. Hopefully it'll be warmer. And then I try to wrap up with a picture that kind of sums up my feelings that I usually find on one of my librarian Facebook group kind of things. And I think this one totally says it, because that's pretty much me. Every week I'm like, oh, next week will be better. It won't be so crazy. And then, no, it's not. Summer is just kind of like a giant tidal wave, and it just kind of goes. And I'm kind of like, I can't really believe it's over, and it's September. So that was summer in the youth department at the library.
Wow. Good job. Great job.
Okay, next is number 11. Discussion regarding fuel island upgrades at Public Works facility on Island Street. Darren?
Yep. Well, I'm not sure that I can follow that up very well, because that looks like a lot more fun than the fuel station. By the way, great job, Amanda. So we discussed this a handful of months ago. I'm not going to go through the whole memo, but the fuel station down at the Island Public Works facility needs upgrades. There's a new requirement coming through. Our equipment's been installed for approximately 30 years now. Due to the new federal regulations that are coming in 28, on upgrades required. Our station's old enough that most of the parts and pieces there are no longer made. The one thing that we have invested in recently is the fuel station card system. So it's how our fuel gets billed to each one of our departments as it's used. And we discussed earlier this year at one of the committee of the wholes is bringing this back when we got towards the end of the year, knowing more where our budgets would be at, to try and lock the price in at a cheaper price. Since this is a requirement for all fuel stations in Illinois, There's only a handful of contractors that even do this work. We've worked with OEC out of Rockford. They're actually out of Cherryvale for numerous years. They actually do all of our testing at the fuel station annually. We have a contract with them that they come in and test the tanks and make sure we don't have leaks. So far, since our last meeting, the price has already went up 4.7%. And so right now, the OEC costs to do the upgrades at the fuel station is $163,100, and we can lock the price in now. They would not do the work until April of 25, but they would order all the parts and pieces and that stuff to get the prices in at this cost. Their estimate was for $170,000 more dollars. I think it was $172,000 to do all the removal and replacement on the concrete work. My assessment of that is the city can do it cheaper. We can bid it out cheaper. I would not hire them to do that. Our crews during the winter months could probably take our own equipment and remove the concrete ourselves. And then if we have time, we could try to pour it back in, or we could hire a contract locally to do that after the station refurbishing is done. This project includes everything outside of the tanks, because our tanks are already fiberglass tanks. They were replaced, and they're assumed that they're still in good condition, and we can get another life cycle out of them. And we also are not doing any upgrades to the canopy. I believe City Manager Boyer did some upgrades to the canopy approximately 2 or 3 years ago to the roof. It's not the prettiest canopy on the planet, but it works just fine. With that, I'll take any questions.
Rob?
If I could, I'd just like to lay this in and put this in a little more layman's terms. So when we say the fuel island, we're talking about the fuel station that Pretzel City Transit, the fire department, the police department, and the public works department all use. It's kind of a central location. We take our bulk fuel orders, they come in and fill the tanks, and then we use that throughout the year. So in case there was any confusion on what a fuel island is. And also, this is, again, the station is very old, but due to increasing regulations, it is going to be necessary to upgrade it. This is probably the most cost-effective time to do that in terms of locking in at this point. Apparently, a lot of municipalities and a lot of other folks statewide are going to be competing for the handful of contractors out there that do this type of work. So it's a good idea to get this locked in now before their prices go up in relation to demand.
Don, I got one more comment. Don.
Pardon?
I have one more comment.
One more comment. He's going to say something. then-
So
then we'll-
something I left out is in the memo, there's a breakout of every department and how much fuel each department uses and what the percentage of the whole is. And I also had the Public Works admins do some cost estimations. So last year, we used almost 83,000 gallons of fuel between all the departments. And our bulk price that we pay for fuel, because it's a different rate all the time, it's a floating market, we average 50 to 70% cheaper than the pump price in Freeport to buy that fuel wholesale and then use the station. So it is a significant savings for the groups that use it. Just to give you some highlights, Pretzel City Transit is almost 30% of our use. We do sell the fuel to Pretzel City Transit, and we also get an administrative fee out of that, and that's supported through IDOT. And then our next highest user was police, followed by Public Works, and then followed by the fire department, and then the rest of them kind of add up to about the same as the fire department. So, not surprised who's using it, but it is well worth having our own station. We actually toyed around with the price of maybe, or the cost of this presenting to a station to try to get a reduced fuel price, and we wouldn't get anywhere close to what we're actually paying at the pump.
Larry?
Okay, I just wanted to mention that the construction side of it, or going out to for bids or whatever the case may be. My question would also be, who's doing the evaluation or the assessment of that island? Who's taking care of that and coming up with the process, the thought process that this should be replaced? What is the I understand you say 30 years, but have we found out whether or not is it mandatory, is it necessary? I put it like that.
So
Is it very necessary that we move on this at this time, since we have so many things right now in the fire as we speak?
Yes.
So my thing is it a necessity at this time, and who's the person that is recommending it, and who has looked it over and made that determination that we need to move on this actively fast at this moment, at this current time? So I like to know who the people are that did the exploration of that island to determine those things that is detriment to the island itself.
Okay, so again, as I stated, OEC out of Rockford has not only called on Freeport for 35 years, they replaced the system 30 years ago, and they do the annual maintenance and upkeep checks on the facility.
Okay.
We know that the federal regulation is going to change in 2028. So they, as our consultant, are advising us to either get on the bandwagon early to replace, or because with as many stations are going to have to be doing these upgrades, the price of materials is going to skyrocket because there's going to be a shortage of material and a shortage of contractor. We don't have to do this today, but the longer we wait, the more cost it will go up. This price has already went up 5% since I believe we presented it in April, which is fine. There is no need to absolutely have to do it tomorrow. Just know the longer that we prevent it, it will cost significantly more, not just in materials, but in labor, because there's going to be a shortage of people that can handle this work. If something were to break at the station right now, our piping is obsolete, so they don't make the piping anymore, and we wouldn't be able to fix it. The only thing that isn't obsolete on our system is the fiberglass tanks that were replaced on the last cycle because they were leaking, and the fuel, they call it the Fuel Master, which is the credit card system that we upgraded a handful of years ago. Those two systems are fully savable. The other components here are all the replacement parts. OEC is a specialist contractor.
Yeah.
You're not going to find everybody that does this. And the parts and pieces that they use are Sourcewell provided, which is one of our procurement standards.
So are we just looking at one outfit to come in and evaluate and make a determination? I can understand it if we're there needing to replace 30 years of anything. You really have to look at it with a serious perspective. You got to really look at that. So my thing is, before we start to initiate this whole thing, we need more detailed information on who's looking at what, who's making determinations, and we like to know who it is that we might like to consider for the best discount for the project, that kind of thing. So we want to be able to look at all of those things. And
in my opinion, we can go out and try to get another price on this, but OEC knows our system better than anyone. They service our system every time it breaks down.
But if we are replacing things, if we want to upgrade, they're not going to be the only ones that could come in and replace things and upgrade things. So we don't have to rely on that outfit as opposed to any others that can come in and bid and give us more detailed information, as well as the ones that you're recommending.
Who will maintain that system moving forward? Because we don't have a classification of personnel that can do that.
Rob?
What I'm hearing you say, Alderman Sanders, is you want to get a second opinion.
Yeah.
So I hear you.
I don't want a doctor to tell me I need to have my heart snatched out,
Sure.
and I don't get a second opinion about it.
Yeah, staff will work together. We'll figure out what
Yeah.
we can do on
Okay.
that.
All right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you. Great presentation. I totally trust you.
Yeah, so I guess we can get a second opinion. I need to know whether it's the council's will that they want to move this project forward and lock in a price yet here in 2024, or take the chance that prices will go up in 25. I need direction because we don't have
Right.
long to get this together yet for a resolution.
Yeah, Alderman Parker, you made a comment. I just didn't grab it at the moment that you made that comment. So what was that comment again?
Basically, I thought he gave a great presentation. I totally trust him. That's
What does that have to do with anything?
not a thing, but
Okay,
you and I
thank you.
thought the same.
Yeah, we don't want to throw out there we trust anyone, you know.
I do.
Yeah, you
opinion,
can.
you do.
Yeah, but
Okay.
but you can trust them if you choose to.
Thank
but
you.
but don't let that weigh on the council mind whether we trust him or not.
You
We're
want a
just
different- you
asking
want a second
legitimate.
opinion,
We're
you
asking
put that out.
legitimate
I'm
questions.
saying I don't need it, I trust
Yeah,
him. That's
yeah.
the only thing, is we just
Well,
have
we
different
should be
opinions.
concerned about all of the things that are coming in and things that are being said. We should be concerned about that. Okay.
Number 12.
How do we move forward? Let's go back. How do you want to handle that?
I need some council direction on what they'd like to see.
Madam Mayor, how about staff gets a chance to discuss it for a week, and we'll maybe bring it back up at the next meeting. Okay? Put a recommendation together for next meeting. Yeah.
No, I think this is just discussion, so we could just put it back on discussion for the council meeting, just to get an update if we have a second quote by then or whatever it is, or if we need more time.
Cecilia?
Are you going to be able to get the information that's being asked for in a week?
No.
So why bring it back then next week?
I would just recommend that staff has a chance to get our heads together, come up with a plan, and we can discuss that at the council meeting.
Yeah.
That helps to do our best to incorporate the wishes of council.
Right. Sounds good.
Okay, I just don't want to be thinking something's going to come that isn't.
Really, we need to reflect on council, what the concerns council has expressed, and we need a chance to kind of absorb that, get together and discuss what that means, and then come back to council and let you know where we're going, okay?
Will that just be department heads, or will older people be involved in that?
I suppose if an older person wants to be involved, I don't see a real challenge there, but give us a minute to kind of discuss the nitty-gritty of what's going on here, and then come back with some type of a way to move forward.
Number 12.
Alderman,
I'm sorry.
I have a
Oh, yes,
question
go
I'd
ahead.
like to ask.
I'm sorry.
Darren, I know you were talking about this OEC company. You said they're out of Rockford.
Yes, Cherryville.
What is the next closest company that's in our surrounding area that does?
I'm going to have to do some work. Since I've been with the Freeport, this is the only company we work for, and they provided tremendous service and been very responsive to our needs, and actually brought the regulation to us that this was coming. So I think they're trying to do a good service to Freeport, so we'll have to do some more legwork and research on it. Again, this is really a specialty item, and at this point, I think we will struggle to get a second quote, but we will certainly try.
Okay. Number 12, discussion regarding intergovernmental agreement for a radio receiver at the County Highway Department. Chief Miller.
Yes, thank you. A few meetings ago, I shared with council that the ETSB, or the 911 board, agreed to fund a complete replacement of the fire department's VHF radio network. So they're funding that at 100% at a cost of $108,000. No expense to the fire department or the city whatsoever. But doing so, replacing the network, they also are adding an additional receiver site at the County Highway Department building off of Lamb Road. That will enhance our communications that are from the southern end of town, where we're in the large box stores like Menards and Walmart and so on. So the best location for that is to put it at the County Highway Department. They already have an existing radio tower, and they've agreed to allow us to install the radio components and also attach their tower. But in turn, they're asking for an intergovernmental agreement holding them harmless in case it gets struck by lightning or there's some kind of issue.
Right.
So that'll become the property of the city. So but for them to agree to that, they just want to make sure they're not going to be on the hook in case something bad happens. So sharing this with you tonight for discussion, for next council meeting, we would propose a resolution for your approval with that regard with the intergovernmental agreement.
Larry?
The right-of-way that you're suggesting, as far as installation is concerned, you're saying that the city will be liable for the responsibility of this installation, am I correct? Is that what we're saying?
That's part of the cost that E ETSB or 911 has agreed to pay. A
Okay.
Motorola vendor will be doing that installation. So they made a proposal, they looked at the quotes, they agreed on all the equipment that was necessary, and also the vendor to do the installation
Do
of
the
all that
installation.
equipment.
Okay, and the city takes over that tower? Is that what we're saying?
We are responsible for our components on
That's
that tower.
on that tower, okay.
So they are responsible for their components.
That's on there
So
as
if
well.
lightning strikes that tower, the city or our insurance company would be responsible for our fire department components only.
Got
The
you.
county would be responsible for their components.
Got you. Okay, thank you.
Cecilia, did you have something? Oh, okay. Thought you had your hand up. Okay, no other discussion on it? 13 is public comments. Oh, I'm sorry, Aaron.
Chief, are you looking for then a motion to have this show up on the next council agenda?
If that's the appropriate measure, yes, that'd be correct.
Right, so just a motion
Move.
to have place this on the agenda, the resolution approving a intergovernmental agreement.
Second, we got a second? Alderman Shadle. Your roll call.
I need to do that. Parker,
Aye.
Stacy,
Aye.
Shadle,
Aye.
Sanders,
Aye.
Sellers,
Aye.
Clem,
Aye.
and Monroe.
Aye.
The motion passes 7-0.
Okay, public comments? Anybody wants to say anything? Okay, come on up, Wendy. Mrs. Pearson, whatever.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
Name is Wendy Pearson. I'm not sure how many people in Freeport or who on the city council is aware of our baseball team at Highland Community College. But we have 49 young men here in town. They played a game on Sunday. They beat Iowa 20-0. They're good. But most of them, all 49 of them, are from warm countries, and they don't have coats. So I'm working with Push Yourself Hard, that's Frankie McGee's organization in town, to try to get these young men coats, hats, gloves, just something to get them through the winter. We're asking anybody that is interested in helping these young men to stay warm and to play ball for Highland for the next 2 years, please reach out to one of us to see what we can do. Mr. Monroe, I met your wife on yesterday, and she's on board. I've got a couple people that are on board already, but I just wanted to put it out there. Earlier, you saw me walk up and give community development director some paperwork. I was asked if I would take on the responsibility of having Liberty with some honorary street name. The person at the community is asking that the city approve the name be put on Liberty between Pleasant to the end, Pleasant, Shawnee, and the end of, I don't know what the name of that street is. I always call it the alley. But anyway, we're looking for 3 signs with Tina Allen's name on it. And for those of you who don't know who Tina Allen is, everybody in town called her Mama T. She was the young lady who would go to Swiss Colony's warehouse sale and pack her car up and just fill it up with stuff for people in town that were in need. She also cooked once a year for everybody in town. Everybody in town came over to her house to get a plate. She also was the young lady whose porch that the young man was murdered on. That was the person that was running the homeless portion of FACC. A bullet grazed her head as well. So the community has asked that we do the names change, or not so much a name change, but an honorary sign. And I'm asking that the city council look at what we're asking and approve it so that we can honor somebody in this town that has passed away, but was very beneficial in our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Sellers, oh, I'm sorry, didn't see your arm up.
Can we speak about the meeting tomorrow? Is that meeting open to the public?
Aaron?
So, so normally, we don't have a council announcement section there, but if that's the only question that you have is, yes, tomorrow's meeting is a special meeting, special city council meeting, so it's open to the public just like any other city council meeting. It's just a special city council meeting, special because it's on a additional night, that's all.
And it will be at what time?
6 o'clock.
But this will be an open meeting.
Yep, just like any other city council meeting.
All right.
Okay, we have a motion by Sellers, seconded by Shadle to adjourn. Or did I get that reversed?
Yeah, no, that, you know.
Need roll call on adjournment?
I missed the second, motion and second.
It was me and Shadle.
Sellers Shadle votes by Parker.
Yes.
Stacy?
Yes.
Shadle?
Aye.
Sanders?
Aye.
Sellers?
Aye.
Clem?
Aye.
Monroe?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0.
Now, do we need a motion to enter back into the finance, or how does that work?
Yep, so, oh,
Need just a minute?
Yeah.
You need to change something, Kurt?
This will be broadcast on the cow, or the cow.
Correct.
We just keep
what's
going?
your question, Kurt?
He has to either end it, or
Yeah.
start it and start a new one, or continue on the cow meeting.
Absolutely.
So you're, right, you're ending this cow, and you're gonna go back to the finance cow. Yeah.
So what do you need, 2 minutes, 5 minutes? What do you need? 5? Okay.